Welcome to the Hedera Hashcast, episode 4. I'm your host, Warlock and Key, and in this episode we'll be talking to Matt Smithies, some guy from Dovu, about, well, probably Dovu. And we'll be seeing if we can get developer advocate Justin Atwell to spill the beans on some spicy secrets concerning upcoming projects on Hedera. I'm joined today by Hashgraphian.
Hey, how's it going?
And those two guys I already mentioned.
Hello.
Let's start with a warm-up. Is there any feeling that you hate? Example, I'm not talking about, crippling sadness. When I'm getting warm clothes out of the dryer and like a piece of my fingernail catches on it, it ruins my day.
I have like 6 of those that popped into my head, only like 2 of which I should say on radio. One thing for me is cabinet door. Like, I always eat on the couch with my wife at night because the kids always hate what we cook. And so, like, I'll sit down, I've got this nice baked potato and steak, and I'm getting ready to eat it, and I turn around and there's a cabinet door open. I hate that feeling. I hate cabinet doors being left open. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Shut them.
Is it because the burden falls to you? Is that it? Because I feel that way with the Brita filter.
It is. Yeah, it's very similar. The tea pitcher's empty. It's the same, exact same. Yeah.
It's a hard life being the one that fills the Brita filter.
I know.
Every time. We're back again.
I got one. It's not really a feeling, but an experience. Sometimes I hear a tapping on the window. It freaks me out because around here we get a lot of seagulls. And we have a pet seagull called Patrick, and he literally taps on the window to get our attention so we can open the window and feed him cat food. Like a trigger.
Why don't you like it? What do you think, that like there's a spooky guy about to kill you? Or you just hate seagulls except for Patrick?
It basically just conditions you to do certain things. Like cats. Cats are great, but they condition you to do things.
Yeah. My cat.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
She's sweet, but she's still young, so those claws are extra sharp. For listeners, I held up my hand and I have 2 fresh, big old Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Anything like that for you, Hashgraphian?
For me, it's like a sound like hearing something drag against carpet. It just like tickles the wrong part of the brain. Oh no.
Yeah.
I hate it.
There's certain sounds that really get me. Anyone filing their nails drives me nuts.
No, but chalk in general, chalk anywhere.
Yeah, that
Chalkboard.
like high-pitched squeaking.
Not even that. I just don't like chalk. It's messy. Sounds really annoying.
I don't like the feeling of chalk. That grosses me out.
Yeah.
All right, I think that was a good warm-up. I'm surprised it went as well as it did with such a vague question. Now it's time for our weekly market update. Ah! All right, that was our weekly market update. Let's get into a general discussion. I've got some basic questions to start us off. Hey, Smithies, what exactly is it that you do?
So I work at Dovu, and I guess my job title is Chief Technology Officer, which basically changes what I do every single day. So it ranges from product, technical writing code, annoying Justin,
Nice.
annoying other people of the Hedera ecosystem to get things done, making sure things are organized in the way I want them to be organized, and then shilling to the community as well. That's happened a fair bit.
I love a good chill.
But in all seriousness, my role is more kind of transitioning over to focusing around token engineering and token economics and stuff, which I'm really excited to do, and hopefully I can just focus more on that stuff.
What's Dovu again? We talked about it a little bit, but if you could just give us a short little summary for people who might be tuning in for the first time.
Yeah, sure. So Dovu has been around since 2016. We had our ICO in 2017, and it's had a number of different incarnations. the latest kind of pivot, as it were, the focus, which is kind of stuck, is around carbon credits, but more specifically trying to make carbon credits as auditable and transparent as possible. And we've been on this journey for a few years, and working with Hedera has been fantastic. Working with Justin's been even better. And yeah, it's a wonderful journey.
So how have you been working with Hedera? What's going on, I mean?
Ooh,
Why am I
it's
talking about Dovu on the Hedera podcast?
alpha leak time, Smithies?
I don't know. I think it's too early for that alpha.
Well, we'll save the alpha leak. Just generally, what's going on right now that people are talking about?
Well, I mean, obviously we build on Hedera, and we've recently migrated we are in the middle of migrating our tokens over to Hedera and utilizing the bridge that Hashport has gracefully built for us, well, for everyone, and with a kind of friendly interaction as well. And so the vision is to kind of bring the port of operations from the token side, from Ethereum over to Hedera, and so we can just build our products and services there, utilize as many Hedera services as possible, but at the same time create solutions and services that relate to every chain possible, not just the Hedera ecosystem. But and this also ties in with the Guardian and our tight-knit work on building that up and integrating it with the solutions as well. And Justin smiling there.
Pull requests, issues.
Yeah, I'll ask more about that stuff in a little separate section.
Yeah.
Some stuff that the community wanted me to ask you. Probably the biggest thing that everyone's excited about, because we are degenerates who are only concerned about profit. Once again, full disclosure, everybody on here holds Dovu. Walk me through how staking Dovu is going to work.
Okay. Once you bridge over your tokens, once you either acquire tokens on the HTS side, the Hedera side, or you bridge them over from Ethereum, which is the open way now, you obviously have your wallet, whether it be Venly or any wallet you have on the Hedera side, like Hashback or Walla Wallet. They're all obviously building up to add a more HTS support and things. But generally, the way staking is going to work is it doesn't require smart contracts, and we reward you for behavior. One of the initial behaviors would be reducing the external velocity of the token, which means don't sell your tokens. And so imagine, if you will, when the next version of the marketplace releases in like a few weeks, you have a profile page, and inside of that, there'll be like a staking button. You press stake, and it's more of like a registration of your account ID than anything else. And so you don't need to interact with a smart contract. You don't need to lock stuff away for now. And what we do is we just take a snapshot of your balance every pass around, and then give you your share of however much we're throwing out there in that hour. And that just goes on for ages and ages and ages. And the longer you hold it, the higher your multiplier. If you buy like carbon from the marketplace, you get a higher multiplier. And all these kind of behaviors. In addition, on the kind of ambassador side, I'm really looking at if we could leverage NFTs as a way of almost like a permanent yield boost. And so when there are NFT marketplaces out there, you could actually trade this NFT with people that want it. So generally speaking, the way we're approaching staking is to build almost this economy of behavior that we desire, and then reward that behavior. And try to keep the tokens out of our hands as much as possible. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that's good. When is the first? Because it's coming out in phases. when is phase 1 of staking going to come out?
Okay, so let's just do alpha leak now. Screw it.
Alpha leak. Wait.
No.
At least let me ask the question to frame it so I can easily do timestamps later.
Okay, cool. So the way we're coming about it is there's going to be phases. The first phase, I think, is up to 50 people, but initially we might begin 25, and that's going to last 2 weeks. And if there's not that many bug reports or everything is working smoothly, we'll bring in slowly more and more. And after that third phase, if we are happy, we'll basically open it up to everyone. And there's this whitelisting system we've created. We are internally aiming to have the first people on the 14th of March. But that's a tentative goal at this point. We're just basically, we've built the back end, we're just finalizing the front end at this point, and then once we're finished and we're happy with it, then we will share it with phase one, as it were.
Awesome. Yeah, 14th of March. Mark your calendars, people. If they miss it, don't scream at them. It happens. I mean, honestly, it's sooner than I and probably a lot of people expected.
Well,
all right.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that the whole caveat is that it's not open to everyone. It's only going to be open to the first bunch of people, you know? And so as the phases go by, then as it becomes more open, that's when it's going to probably be more interesting to other people.
Yes, but for those of us huge, manly chads that are going to be in the first wave, you know, it's welcome news. Now, let me ask my obviously pre-written question so I can do a timestamp. Hey, Justin, you're a formerly Hedera Announce World's employee. Do you have any spicy leaks or teases for us, the Hedera community?
Yeah, I have one. I actually asked the HBAR Foundation. I was like, so, Wes, you know, I'm going to be on Hashcast this weekend, and I kind of want to, like, give something. And he wouldn't give me a company name. I tried, but the point where I talked about it in the Club HBAR chat, like, right before that, you know, whenever we were talking. And it just landed on next week. You'll see a large influx of transactions that will be going to mainnet. It was testing on testnet, I think, at like 5,000 TPS for like hours, and I think that was only a partial rollout. So the usage, I think, and that's one usage. That's one usage, just not Dove, which is no. I mean, we love Dove, and I love Dove more than any of them, but it can't be just Dove. So there's that news too.
Do you have anything to add, Smithies? He's thinking, listeners. He's thinking. Pondering.
No.
Great.
Well, the only thing I'll add is our tests aren't going to be as thorough, but we're aiming to push. In the next several weeks, we're aiming to do a test where we push 20 to 25 million transactions in a day, just to kind of test out the staking kind of mechanism.
So, this is also something I'll throw in that I didn't ask for clarification, but this is actually the opposite of Dovu.
This upcoming project?
The project that's going to be releasing is the opposite of Dovu.
Is it throwing oil into the rainforest?
Maybe. No, I think I just so Dovu is very much on the offset sequestration side, and the company that's going to be live on mainnet is actually on the emission side. So that's on the naughty side, the naughty list.
Hinty hint hint. Yeah. Justin, what is this Guardian thing? You've been mentioning it. I don't understand it. What is that?
Yeah, without getting into I'll just give you the elevator pitch of kind of what's on the README. But it's a policy workflow engine. It's essentially, that's a nice way of saying that if you are doing something and you want to take that something and you want to put it and digitize it. So a great example of that would be if I wanted to chop down a bunch of things, like I wanted to chop down some trees and I wanted to burn those trees. If I wanted to basically have that entire workflow of how that happened in the real world, I would use the Guardian to do it. So what it does is it takes a role. So various roles might be involved in chopping those trees down, such as cutting down the tree and then maybe sawing the tree into manageable pieces and then burning it or something. And so each one of those people might be a different person. So the Guardian's job is to give each one of those people a digital identity on the Hedera network to have that traceability from the time that the tree was cut down to the point where it's burnt and thrown back into the ground or whatever. So that's the Guardian's job.
Cool.
Oh, so it's like a tokenization of assets sort of thing, like a workflow for that.
A work for supply, mostly for supply chain, tokenization of supply chains.
Okay.
Yep. And right now, focus is on sustainability, which is obviously why we have Dovu, which is our flagship product from the HBAR Foundation, which I did not know until the other day.
Wow.
Neither did I, apparently.
Announced it on Twitter. They didn't tell anybody.
Ooh, that wacky old HBAR Foundation. Ooh. Another thing that people were interested in knowing a little bit more about is the DAO concept that was posted on the Dovu blog. Can you summarize and expand on that?
Yes, I mean, I think more specifically, it was the token engineering vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I think focusing around DAO, where we see Dovu in 5 to 10 years is, well, let's say 10 years because all these things take time.
Sure.
Is for us to develop a community whereby everyone who owns a little bit of Dove can have a vote or a say or make proposals, and get access to staking mechanisms as we're building out now, and to be able to create compelling proposals, and people vote on it, and then based off those votes, action can be taken. So we want to go a complete governance route, and those things take time. Like anything, but one of the bits that fascinates me is this idea of cross-DAO communication. So I'm currently working with Cooper and Paul on the Galaxy side, and because they pitched this concept of using HCS for DAO proposals and voting, and so I've taken that idea and modified it. So in theory, you could have multiple tokens or multiple DAOs voting on the same things to reach like a shared goal. The example I use is if us and Galaxy want to create pools of Dove to their social tokens, we could vote to do that, and different communities could vote there. And if there's enough consensus or enough quorum, then we could make that trigger. Because going forward, there's going to be more and more demand and more need for an interface layer. Not just between a specific token holder, but different tokens over different ecosystems and things. And so, yeah, there's the first step of our journey, at least, on it.
I think that's really needed. In general, what attracted me to Dovu is just this general concept that, well, a lot of people hate crypto because they think it's against the environment. And while, I mean, they have some reason for thinking that, I think crypto is also a great opportunity to show and facilitate change and involvement. So the fact that you're, working on that is really good for me to hear. Did you name, Justin, did you name the Guardian thing that because, did the name come later, or did they just think it was a cool name?
Started before I was at Hedera. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I started in Hedera in early September, and it was I think 3 weeks to a month old, during which point they named it.
Who named it?
I don't know. Wes Geisberger, most likely.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, didn't think I'd get an answer.
Yeah, he's the creative one.
He's a creative one. Wes,
he
shout out.
He's an absolute wizard. When it comes down to talking in meetings, he is his brain works in mysterious ways. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wes, I better get that retweet. All I'm saying.
See, that's the thing though, is so since I started working at Hedera, I've almost been, I would say, 50 to 60% sustainability, and it's kind of been going up. I'd say the last 3 weeks it's been more like 80% sustainability, and it's good to see. I think the supply versus demand of offsets, from what I'm seeing, is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
In
There
what
isn't-
way?
There ain't
There
enough.
is, yeah, there isn't enough high quality verified offsets for the world. Actually, for a single large company.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
it's sad. And then so if you look in so Australia, I forgot what they budgeted like so X billion dollars for climate change. And then I'm talking to I might be on LinkedIn or Googling or something, and I see like oh, you cannot actually sell any of your offsets in Australia at all unless it generates more than one like megawatt or something like that. And they said that that's like 80 to 90% of all the offset generating solar in Australia. It's like insult to injury. It's like, how are they going to do this?
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people distrust the whole offset concept. And I think a lot of that is because we don't have stuff like Dovu that is focused on small, focused on people, focused on building. It's just like kind of general things people throw out.
I think historically it's been a industry that can be abused so much, and to offset something, you could be like, well, I haven't used this energy, so therefore I've offset something somewhere. But the kind of the mind model you really have to utilize in this space is around removals. So a person has done an action that has removed X amount of carbon or whatever from the atmosphere, and that is triggered in for the higher quality kind of additional kind of carbon credits, as it were.
And a lot of the quality, so like I don't know when carbon credits actually started being sold on the market, but one of the things that I'm seeing kind of from the community and people coming in, to start this process is it's people that might have been trading these manually for years, and they've kind of seen for years this like the double spend, the all sorts of other kind of junk that comes along with it, like, and they want to change it because they see the value there too.
Yeah, the one thing that I like about the structure of Dovu is that how it actually incentivizes the farmers to engage in sustainable farming practices through the contracts that they sign. So it's not just like offsets is just where you want to start, but like your end goal is to actually reduce carbon emissions, and I think that's really cool. It's just like offsets is the thing you can do the most right now, and just like get that tracking and auditing trail going now. But
Yeah.
the future goal sounds really interesting.
I think to expand on that a little bit, like my vision is to kind of utilize other DeFi protocols like Alchemix. Like, I don't know if the both of you are familiar with those.
No.
Okay, cool. So Alchemix is a protocol that does future yield, and it's self-repaying loans. So if you're a farmer and you take care of your soil for like 15, 20 years, the actual carbon stores are going to be in a depleted state initially, and then over time, the actual carbon is going to replete. But that's going to hit a maximum. It's roughly about 5% carbon in the soil is more or less 5 to 6% is more or less the maximum. So you have this yield that you have to kind of get up to, and this takes 15 to 20 years. And so my vision is why don't we say, okay, farmer, we can give you this every year, every 6 months, or wherever this additionality, but then we can actually squirrel a little bit away into these DeFi protocols. So once we hit the 20-year mark, then we just switch on DeFi. You can't pull down any more carbon on your farms, but you could get paid for as long as you want to get paid yearly through these loans that are self-repaying through kind of DeFi mechanisms.
So
and you get paid from the maintenance standpoint rather than additionality.
Now, so the maintenance standpoint, is that just kind of going along with the theory that the best way to keep carbon in the ground is to not touch it, like not remove it in the first place?
Yeah, in theory.
That's cool. I like that idea, because a lot of the stuff that I read kind of on the tech specs is, that you might pay somebody to reforest something by planting trees, but that's not necessarily better than if you'd just left it alone in the first place. Or barring many, many different circumstances. But there was talk of some people just removing forests and then just planting new trees because trees take carbon. Like, well, hold on, that's not necessarily like a blanket statement truth.
And in addition to that, there are specific plants you can get that will yield more carbon offset, that will pull more. There's things like biochar that will pull more, and so there's these different kind of options that farmers can go down in order to maximize their yield, as it were.
Yeah, biochar is that's interesting. Biochar is really interesting because it takes a bush and then it kind of burn. I forget like the actual spec on biochar, but I know that it burns it without as much oxygen and doesn't quite burn it all the way. And at the end of the day, that can make like a soil amendment.
Yeah, you add it to the soil.
Yeah, and so that adds carbon to the soil. Apparently, I didn't know that till recent. I'm smiling because I'm doing some of that stuff at work, and it's not actually a leak because there's many more than just one person that makes biochar. So
yeah, you can Google biochar. It's a public thing.
Google biochar, listeners.
It's also something that has a really it has a process. It's very process oriented, and you can kind of nail that down. And people can take the measurements, because at the end of the day, you want to measure it right. So, that was a good thing to start with, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
It reminds me when I was going through Kansas, whenever they harvest their fields, they burn them all just to return, just to nourish the soil.
Yeah. Yep. So that's not necessarily true in California. I'm not saying that, but that was the argument that some had for the California forest fires being a natural occurring phenomenon not linked to climate change. It was that falsehood was grown from that kind of thing, though. That it adds, because it does add potassium, and it adds, I forget what the other thing it has that it adds to soil, but it's true. But it doesn't mean that the whole forest needs to go to hell.
Get rid of all them redwoods. It's fine.
Yeah.
I like those boys.
I guess also these sorts of things extend into impoverished nations or impoverished farmers all around the globe. Like, in theory, you can imagine these farmers in Africa who could literally utilize Dovu as a mechanism to unlock the soil underneath their feet, to actually gain these credits to gain an income rather than, and to potentially boost and change their lives. But that's kind of more of a hopeful attitude, I guess, right now.
And I think that the cool thing about it is that it's tangible. It's like if you think about what it takes to get money from an entity right now, like a fiat currency, in the US, if I make over $600 or something, I get a 1099 or something. It's like there's a lot of laws there. And so a lot of the stuff that they're doing in Africa and Kenya and a lot of those other places is they're saying, hey, that law doesn't necessarily exist for crypto yet, but it does exist that I can't take it out of the country. So what they'll do is they'll pay them in crypto because it's pseudo, you get an account ID and then that references you to your name and whatnot. So it's easier, at the end of the day. And better. We like it. It's faster. No middlemen. The people at the farms can actually get paid. It's a good thing.
Yeah, less bureaucracy, always a good thing. Except with surgery, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I might be fine with more bureaucracy in surgery. Some other things the community wanted me to know, not as big pipe dreamy stuff. They just want to know what happens to their Ethereum Dovu when it's ported to HTS. Is it frozen? Is it burned?
Okay, so we consider Dove to be a cross-chain utility token. Hedera is our home base. But when they use the any bridge for that matter, Dove gets locked in a contract, and then the corresponding Dove are minted on the HTS side. And so if they want to move the value from HTS to Ethereum, or eventually HTS to Polygon or Binance Smart Chain or Avalanche or all these other kind of networks, they all work in very much the same way. there will always be 963 million Dove tokens.
And there's just for in the Guardian. So one of the features that's being added into the Guardian is that we're able to take offsets and stuff like that from other chains as well. So that'll be valid soon.
Cool.
There's this. There's also this buyable thing that we're working on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think we can allowed to talk about that. I think. I mean, I'm gonna put in a hit. I'm gonna put in a hit for the public like tomorrow or Tuesday.
Oh yes.
So yeah, Wes pushed me on it, so we can talk about it. So so one of the things that kind of Smithies, me, and like I don't know 3 or 4 other people have been working on is this concept of a buyable token that you can sell in mass whenever you want or buy in mass whenever you want without requiring signatures. So it does require authorization from the minter side to say, hey, like this is an inventory token. If you give me X amount or Y amount of said token, then you can take as many of these as you want, as many as I have, or to a certain percent or whatnot. So that's coming soon. It'll be in draft this week. It won't be like out to the wild for a while.
In real terms, imagine offsets. Imagine there's a supplier that makes offsets. They have an account. They say, I want to take Dove for this offset. You pay the account directly, and then you get the offset return without a marketplace in the middle.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
So some of us don't have as big of brains as others.
That's what this 5-head is for. It's got to hold this big brain. No?
Mine is actually it's around the back. Yeah. So as long as you're looking at me straight on, it's fine. I just can't really turn. Also, some people who are interested in staking but bought Dove on Binance Smart Chain want to know when they can port that over because they wanted to save the Ethereum gas fees because they're awful.
Well, they are pretty bad. Like we know the way to do it today is to go over the Poly Bridge and then go over the bridge, but that sucks. I know that they are.
Yeah.
I know that Binance and Polygon, I think, is already integrated, but not the Dove. Is integrated on the bridge, but I don't know about when on the timelines of those. I was potentially debating around creating a smart contract, and then basically saying to people, "Hey, use my smart contract, and I'll suck your Dave and mint it over the other side." But I don't know if people should trust me. So it's that.
At least you're not anonymous. Please, just trust me. I will take it and move it. I mean, I would. I used Poly Bridge recently, and as a relatively small brain, I was like, this sure is taking a while. I hope, because it was like the Binance part was like, pretty fast, and then it went through the Poly Bridge part, and then it was the Ethereum. I was just like, is this normal?
If you're removing funds, like removing stuff from Binance US always gives me a heart attack because it's like you go and for one, you like for HBAR, like I buy HBAR and I store it. I never sell HBAR. So I'm always removing it from Binance, right? And so it pisses me off. You cannot hit max and then move it off. You cannot do it because it'll tell you that you haven't paid for the fee. It works on Ethereum, it works on like all these other ones, but for some reason it just doesn't. It's a pain in the butt when you do it with HBAR. It makes me so mad. It's like, fix my stuff. This is my HBAR. It's mine. It's Hedera's really, but it's mine.
Selling HBAR. I mean, I couldn't even imagine. Especially now. Segue that's not very good right now. Will there be a time where I can just buy Dove on Hedera? Will be soon? I don't want to buy Ethereum, Dovu. Don't make me.
None of us want that.
Hey, I had to ask.
It's in the works, but it's.
I know there's probably
things
about a
will happen
million
when they
hurdles.
Yeah, but I think, to be perfectly frank, the strategy internally is, whilst we may be able to get on a few those things that shall not be named. What
Voldemorts. We might be getting on a few Voldemorts.
Yeah, whilst that could happen in the medium term, short to medium term, who knows? What tends to happen is if a project takes off, then like Looks, for instance, or these big ones like Binance just grabs it and posts it, or like big exchanges will post tokens if they have a huge following behind them anyway. So we would rather create a product and a solution and create something that's amazing, and then it becomes a no-brainer for these big exchanges to take it without having to worry too much.
Cool.
But who knows?
Who knows? Not me.
Oh, we never lost control.
The
The man who sold the world? Really? That's the man who sold the world. Who knows? Not me. Okay, never mind. All right.
I'm not that old. Could you say something about Fortnite? Or
No, I play Lost Ark right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a Fortnite reference. Could you connect a Fortnite reference to that? Who is it? David Bowie?
Yeah. I like the Nirvana version more than David Bowie myself, but yeah. I just lost like 100 Twitter followers.
Not yeah. I mean, I'll take hot takes. I don't like lukewarm takes.
What is Hash Graphian's thoughts? What are your thoughts on Dovu for this year? How do you feel?
Well, one thing I do want to know if it's safe to bridge to HTS yet.
You can do what you want, TM.
Tread cautiously.
I mean, like what's life without a little risk? No, it is safe, and my recommendation is to utilize Venly, even though there are some comments on the custodial wallet side. Venly is the best kind of, in my opinion, one of the better solutions for grabbing your tokens, and then from that point you can send them to whatever wallet you prefer. And it's if you want to get tokens from Ethereum to HTS, create a new Venly account and sync them all up, and it works pretty darn nicely now. Because I believe Jesse a lot about it.
Okay, so we make a Venly wallet, assuming we've got the Ethereum Dovu. We put it in there. Then we go to Hashport.
Yes.
Then what do we do?
You connect your Venly wallet.
Okay.
And you connect your MetaMask.
All right.
And then you follow the steps.
Where are those steps? Are they on the website?
Well, I'm pretty sure they are on the website. No, of course they're on their website. But there might be a nice community member that does a little video for us soon.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to look out for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know who would do that, but it'd be cool if they did.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have been complaining a lot. Help! It's the medium or the average IQ of the crypto enthusiast. Maybe not what you'd think. And I'm probably one of those people bringing that number down. I guess I love complaining.
One of the challenges I see with the Hedera community is that everyone is great, everyone's fantastic, but the problem is they're so DeFi starved that a lot of them are going to get rugged and wrecked.
Yep, they are.
Yes. We're like, please.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's gonna be bad because I think people they too high of a trust bar, I think, over here on Hedera, in Hederaville.
Yeah. Hedera's community very different than other communities. Like if people are trying to be anonymous, but like I feel like an older community compared to most. Probably not in a crazy amount. Probably more diverse gender wise, I think. As far as people I've interacted with, I've definitely interacted with more females in this community than others. What is that not how you're supposed to say it? Anyway, unique community, but we are so starved for like things happening for DeFi that sometimes we're just like, "Oh, take my money, it'll be fine. I'll get you. Come on, anything."
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can also come together as a community to dab on those scammers that would be,
Yes.
trying to.
And I have been rugged so many times that there is a reason why I have so many tweets of warning everyone about how ignorant they probably are.
The
To write a passage.
I didn't look at the OpenSea thing this morning about what happened with their contract, but I think it's not. I think a lot of people, they blamed Ethereum and they were out saying like, "Oh, go to Hedera smart contracts, go to Hedera smart contracts," and that's not quite what happened. And Hedera will be vulnerable to those exact same problems. Assuming they don't program around it.
Does anybody know what happened?
It's effectively a phishing attack. And so inside of this phishing attack, you could sign a message that basically gave permission for you a private sale to the hacker, and it seemingly the individual waited until ETH Denver and the CTO was having a little kind of chat, and then that's when they triggered it.
Yep.
The withdrawal funds. Yeah,
That's nuts.
It was up to like $500 million or it was a large amount of money.
the thing is, like, I found out about it. I woke up in the middle of the night. It was 1:30 last night, and I actually migrated some of my stuff from OpenSea. So I was like, "Fuck!" And so I ran over to my machine 2:30 last night, and I was like, kind of turning off a lot of the token approvals. But I didn't interact with that guy in particular. But it's horrible.
But yeah, they can do that on Hedera too.
Yeah.
They can do that via any wallet to wallet transaction, scheduled transactions. Anything.
Yes.
Oh, be careful out there.
Imagine if there was a scheduled transaction, like if the deadline was like weeks or a month, that would be vile.
Well, there's talks of extending that, there's talks of extending that window of, there's a lot of asking for it, I should say. I don't know that we have not budged quite yet on extending that window, but we might.
You hear that, listeners? Be afraid of the rug.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think it'll take a lot of community input to figure out.
Sometimes community gets lazy.
All this just goes into like the growing pains of crypto, because code is just so complex, and there's always going to be weird edge cases.
Bugs. There's always bugs in code too.
Which also ties in with the Hedera smart contracts, which are fantastic, but they're not regular smart contracts, and developers and everyone coming in, they need to understand the Hedera side and that layer between moving tokens and associations and things. And so this is going to take time, but I think we're on the right path.
All right. Well, I think that was a good stopping point. Thank you so much for the panel for being here. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Twitter, checking us out on Spotify, and supporting us via Patreon. Thank you for listening and for helping to build a consensus in the Hedera community. Thank you to our patrons, ABFT FTW,
Bye.